Kading di kayak beroi bi. Gol kus kok ya kok ya.
At the age of 7, they go to boarding school. Sometimes they don't want to go back to school, but I encourage them so they can study well. Although I miss them, I tell them to go back to school, even though I miss them.
We are the indigenous people of Malaysia. Many of us live deep in the jungle, and most of the schools are far from the villages.
As the parents want their children to be educated, they make sacrifices by sending their children to boarding school, even if it's far from themselves.
My grandmother didn't have any education. My mother and my father didn't have any education, and I had little schooling. Since we have no education, we are easily cheated and deceived.
We don't know how to speak up, and we feel we're not capable of doing things. That's why we wait for outsiders to do things for us instead of doing things ourselves for our village. Because of the community building process, many changes have happened. We, the indigenous, could think about the needs of the village. So that's why some individuals, together with the local spiritual assembly and village leader, gathered together to discuss the establishment of a community school so that the children can receive spiritual education and material education. Now, there's one village that has a community school.
The children I taught in the community school, they have now become teachers at the community school.
This community school is for the youngest children. But in the future, our hope is that children who are older can also study in this community school.
I want to be a doctor. I want to be an indigenous dress designer.
I want to serve as a children's class teacher.
Some of the youth are now participating in the Preparation for Social Action program. In PSA, the youth increase their capacity to transform themselves and also to transform their community. Today we studied about education. The participants visited some parents and wanted to know further, how has education changed in this community since the olden days? In the past, we rarely saw the youth visiting and conversing with the adults. The PSA program gives them the opportunity to consult freely. They discuss together to achieve a common understanding.
In the past, women had no voice. Men's voices were the strongest. Women were left behind, and they couldn't make their own choices in their lives. But now, because of the Institute process, women are at the forefront. If in the past they were shy, now they are brave enough to try. When we look at it now, women's voices are equal. Also, the women help the village head to take care of the affairs of the village. In terms of administrative matters, the women help with correspondence and how to do the work systematically. As a result, the village head can think as a whole.
Since the 1950s, Malaysians started learning about the teachings of Baha'u'llah. And today, there are thousands of people in Malaysia who are striving to translate Baha'u'llah's vision of social and spiritual transformation into reality. And this transformation that we see, it starts with the local inhabitants themselves.
When we wanted to bring a change in our own neighborhood, we felt that it has to start with us.
So a group of us, we came together and we started to reflect on why we are not serving in our own neighborhoods. Why do we serve in other neighborhoods but not in our own neighborhoods?
We felt like our neighbors were too busy and they would not be interested in coming together. But we have never even spoken to our neighbors, so how would we know if it was true or not? So we decided to go outside and just talk to our neighbors. At the first day we went out, we did not meet any neighbors and the streets were empty. And so we said it's okay, we can try again tomorrow. But when we went on the next day, again we did not meet anyone. And this happened for 10 days. It was a little discouraging and some of us thought that maybe we should give up. But then we said no, we should not lose hope and we should keep going out. And finally we met a few neighbors and started having conversations with them.
One day, 2 strangers came to my house and shared with me about spiritual education. They said they would like to invite my children to participate in the children's class and junior youth group. Then I thought of my daughter. When coming back from school, she would go upstairs and look at her phone and rarely came out to interact with others. I knew this was not a good sign. It occurred to me that spiritual education could really help her.
As soon as I got home from school, I would go straight into my room. I rarely communicated with my parents, especially with my mother. Basically, I was the kind of person who had zero communication, zero interaction, and rarely expressed my inner feelings. The first time I went to my neighbor's house to participate in the junior youth group, I was very resistant. I didn't know anyone there. And I was also very resistant because my mother asked me to participate in the group. In the group, I was able to interact with many of the neighbors. I could also express many of my own thoughts.
Since my family and I have participated in the community building activities, we have learned to consult. I've seen that my children are better at expressing their opinions and more willing to share their inner feelings with us. This has brought our relationship closer to each other.
I started to interact and communicate more with my mother and family. The spirit of togetherness in our family has improved greatly. Currently, I'm also assisting my mother with her children's class.
Among the children we are teaching, some of them have learning difficulties. So apart from teaching them the children's class lessons, we also teach them how to read and write.
Every time they can read or make some progress, it makes me feel happy and excited. Now at least, I'm assisting in my mother's children's class instead of lying at home looking at my phone.
Hold on tight and you won't have any. Let it, spend it, give it away, and it comes right back to you. Oh.
Through participating in the community building activities, our family has a common purpose to learn and grow together, building a better community together. Now, my neighbors and I will go and invite other neighbors to participate in the community building activities. Because I think everyone should have a chance to get to know and participate in the activities.
Through the neighborhood devotional gathering, I got to know more neighbors. We talk about the needs of the neighborhood and how we can create a better community. After we participated in the neighborhood devotional gathering, my husband and I both realized that we too could hold a devotional gathering in our home. Before, our family didn't pray together, but my uncle and aunt, they are Baha'is. For years, they would invite me to their home. Then after we had our meal, we would pray together. But I had never thought that one day I would take the initiative to pray. But now, I found that because we have this habit of praying, every day as a family we pray, and our family has become closer and calmer.
It's been 3 years now, and there are 135 families engaged in the community building process. How we organize ourselves is by having groups of families. So each group of families, they pray together, plan service projects together, and they even have outings together.
Today we are here gathered to have a picnic.
to enjoy each other's company and sing some songs and, just enjoy the morning.
As a member of the City Council, I feel proud to work together with the Baha'i community. I noticed that the Baha'i community provides a platform for local inhabitants to gather, strengthen fellowship, and create the spirit of neighborhood.
In this neighborhood, we started with a few junior youth group insurance classes. Only when we started, we realized that these junior youths and children didn't know how to read and write. They can't even recognize alphabets. So to help them, now we have started literacy classes.
Okay, what is this?
Hey.
Hey. Hey. Hey. Okay, what is this?
Yes.
Okay, what is this?
Eyebrow.
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 What is this?
Fingers.
Fingers.
The service project the junior youths decided to do was to pray with their families every day.
I grew up from this neighborhood where it is characterized as an overcrowded place with many people living nearby each other. One good thing is that everyone knows everyone and they're very helpful. But the challenge in this neighborhood is that most of the women here are illiterate.
When I was 12 years old, I became responsible to care for my brothers and sisters, so I couldn't continue my education. Since I didn't know how to read and write, it was difficult to get a job. I developed low self-esteem. I never came forward for anything, and my life went on like that. As a mother, I couldn't help my son with his homework. When my son asked me questions, I didn't know how to answer. I suffered a lot, and I was too shy to ask others for help. I had great anxiety about how I was going to raise my son. My neighbor came and asked me to study the Ruhi book. As I didn't know how to read and write, I told her that I was not interested. But she repeatedly told me that it's all right if I didn't know how to read and asked me to come and see. Because of the Ruhi book, I learned how to read and write. Whenever I feel down, the writings of Abdul Baha come to mind on how to rise up to that for which I was created. I became courageous. I started to dare to speak. Initially, I studied this book for my child, but then I saw the children around me. I said, why must I only teach my child? I must also teach the children here. So, to teach these children, I became a children's class teacher.
Justice.
Okay, justice.
Unity.
Unity.
I'm also a member of the area teaching committee. We visit our neighbors and have conversations with them. We pray together and create a joyful atmosphere.
Many of the juniors in this neighborhood are engaged playing video games, social media for the whole day. Their vision for their future is very cloudy. But when they come to this junior youth program, they started to have a vision for their life in the future. They also start to think about what are the needs of the community and how they can serve them.
We've come this morning to do a service project. Because there are no lines, people park their motorcycles haphazardly and leave. Motorcycles fall on each other, which is dangerous for children. That's why we came to paint this parking lot.
Many of the junior youths here, they neglect their studies. So since I have a junior youth group, I'm helping them to focus on their academic studies because we would like to raise junior youths who are both academically and spiritually progressed.
Our cluster is located in the southern region of Brazil. Culturally, people are very friendly, very lively, very warm. But today, there isn't much trust between people. Unfortunately, this is due to negative social factors such as violence, drug abuse, crime, and poverty.
Before, people were scared at night. Now it's day and night. The supermarkets have bars on the doors just to protect themselves. Families are frightened by the degree of violence that is occurring. They prefer to close themselves in their homes, and insecurity begins to generate isolation.
Some years ago, a group of friends began to meet every day here in the neighborhood. We prayed, we consulted, we planned, and then we went out to visit families to get to know the residents of our neighborhood. Who are our neighbors?
The life I lead here, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's easy. It depends a lot on the day. I've been raising my children alone for 9 years. Sometimes my friends come here and help me. Then I gather all my children and we pray together. It becomes a little more peaceful, right?
As we visited the houses and met more people, I discovered that everyone wants what's good for our neighborhood.
We realize that home visits are the basis for building community.
Our concept of visiting homes also started to change and transform. Before, we had this idea that visiting homes is a very formal thing. We even thought about what topic we were going to talk about. We had to make an appointment with the person we were going to visit. But in reality, a home visit is a much more natural thing. We visit these neighbors with great frequency. We have conversations about themes that involve their lives. The home visits have created the spirit of unity and friendship among the friends here in the locality. Everybody was invited to be part of this community transformation process.
I'm 14 years old and I'm a children's class teacher. When I was younger, I also participated in children's classes. And everything I learned, I want to pass on to the children I teach today.
Today, in our junior youth group, we decided that there should be some changes in our neighborhood. We decided it would be better to put garbage bins because of the pollution.
Another thing our group decided was to put lights in the village because when it is nighttime, you can't see anything.
I love that he's part of the group because he has changed a lot. Before, he did nothing at home. Now he helps me clean the house, helps with the dishes, he helps me in general. He learned to pray. He brought prayer into our home.
Now, almost every family in the neighborhood has a devotional in their house, and this has changed the atmosphere of the neighborhood a lot. Previously, the neighborhood was so dangerous that we couldn't call a taxi here because they were afraid to come. Now, our neighborhood is so much safer that no one is afraid to come.
Today, we see the kids playing in the street because the families trust each other more. There's less violence and drugs, and everyone feels peaceful and safe.
Aqui tem a Júlia, mas isso vai certo e tudo. E ela queria passar
I'm part of a group of families here on my street. Together we think about something good that we can do for our community. A few days ago, we had a cyclone, and quickly, this group of families and friends got together to help people who were in need of clothing and food.
Sim, a gente vai conversando.
We're beginning to have glimpses of this power that's released from community building.
We can see that the community itself becomes a protagonist, and with the power of unity can really transform society. Many of the junior youth start working at a very young age. The main activity they do is collecting and sorting recyclable materials, which they sell in order to help their families to buy food and basic necessities.
Since I was 6 years old, I've been collecting materials for recycling to help my mother put money and food in the house.
One of the challenges we have here is that many young people start leaving school early. The boys, because they have to help their families financially, so they end up leaving school to work. Or because they get involved with drugs. The girls, because they get pregnant very early.
I have 4 children. I had my first pregnancy at 14 and had to drop out of school. But today my goal is for them to finish school because it's very important.
When they started to participate in the junior youth program, they developed a greater awareness of the importance of education, of improving the world and their future.
I'm 14 years old. I go to school. I like it very much because I learn. I was in the junior youth group. Now I'm in book 1. I like it a lot.
É o pão do espírito. É o imã dos corações dos homens.
I work to help and support my family. I collect and separate materials.
Most of these junior youth are now part of the junior youth program. We can see that even though they still work in recycling, they no longer drop out of school, and we even see an improvement in their grades.
We see the animators helping the junior youth with homework and subjects they have difficulty with.
Because of the pandemic, I repeated a year. When I repeated it, I was very sad. I started to get depressed. But today, with this class, I feel better. I'm happy. I'm learning the subjects I couldn't learn before.
E tu vai colocar os números, ok?
One of the strengths of our community is that the institutions strongly encourage individual initiative. For example, we had a neighbor who just finished book 1 and was very excited. So she erased the whole book and took it to her neighbor's house so they could study together. Even though she wasn't a tutor, everyone was very happy. And the institutions started to think about how we could support her more and accompany her so that she could continue tutoring the book.
I was browsing online and saw some very nice posts of a colleague of mine who does various activities in her neighborhood. I found it super interesting and asked her how she does it. And I decided I could also do these activities here in my neighborhood. She introduced me to another friend, and I started to study the institute courses with her. And then I began a children's class in a junior youth group. At the end of each book, we thought about a service project. Each one gave their ideas on what we could do to improve the place where we live. One of the students came up with the idea to do a service project about period poverty. They themselves noticed within the group that some students have difficulties going to school because they don't have pads and have difficulties acquiring them. The group started to raise awareness among family members, all residents, about the importance of participating in this project. Then they created a box to collect these pads. All residents, parents, and relatives helped to collect them. They took the box to school where it was kept for all students to use. And today, one student continues to lead this project. Since then, none of the students ever missed class again for that reason.
I grew up in a place where there was a lot of violence, a place that brought no comfort to anyone. Then I became pregnant. I had to stop studying, and I felt alone. And when I learned about the Baha'i faith, I found that there was the purpose I was so much looking for and didn't know where to find. Now I'm a children's class teacher. I really see the transformation with the class. I see children wanting to learn, wanting to discover new things, good things. Looking into the future, I see myself still here teaching, God willing, with my house a little tidier. I go to the mothers' houses. I visit them more often. We all became friends.
Your children's class is helping a lot. When my children grow up, they can also help you in the class and the other children in the neighborhood too.
The mothers and I get together often. We talk about the kids. We talk about prayer. We talk about our lives. We help each other a lot, really wanting something good to come out of this community.
It's the revelation of Baha'u'llah that is really empowering all the friends to make a spiritual change, as well as a social change in their surroundings.
My life has only been in crime since I was a child. I was involved with drugs. I was in a world of violence. I was in prison for 10 years of my life. I lost my son. I lost my wife. I lost my brother in the world of drugs. Things became more and more difficult. The Baha'i faith helped me get out of this hole. The prayers helped me a lot to bear these pains. Thanks to Abdul Baha, today I'm a better person. I started to understand others, to value family, friends, and everything that life consists of. Let's plant the seed of love. Plant, cultivate, it's possible.
Many people don't have enough money to buy food and are hungry, so we decided to take action and help them out.
We visited over 40 families and shared a service project to them, which led to them donating food.
And now we're going to take that food that we collected and donate it to a food bank.
I'm the president of this neighborhood association. Our neighborhood has actually become much more unified in the last couple of years, and I think that is due in large part to junior youth groups that have been meeting here. They would come out and play, and they would meet to plan their service projects, and the neighbors started noticing this and really feeling a sense of community that these kids have started creating.
Today we're building a community garden as a service project for our junior youth group, and we're doing this to help connect the different members of our community together because we have like a gap between generations, between young children and older people, so we think it's a good way to unite and connect the neighbors.
I'm in my last year of high school, and I've been coordinating a junior youth group for about a year now. I remember being a junior youth in my group, and I remember I was kind of loud and annoying, and it probably looked like I didn't get anything out of it, but the conversations were really impactful for me, and that's why I became an animator.
What are some of the attitudes? I just completed a year of service within my neighborhood. It was really nice to be able to contribute to the neighborhood that I was living in. I've been so blessed in these last couple of years to have not only a nucleus of friends that I'm serving alongside and that are supporting me, but also I've had the support of the families in the neighborhood that I feel like I can consult with and really come to unified decisions about what we should do next and how we should approach things. I used to create this false dichotomy in my mind in regards to what counted as service. I was like, okay, only my junior youth group or only my children's class is service. But if I'm really thinking about service not as an event that I'm going to or an activity that I'm completing, but more as an undercurrent that's informing all of the different activities that I'm engaging in. That really allows for much more space for service just in my life generally.
One question we are asking ourselves is, what does a coherent life of service look like? And what we're realizing is that it looks different at every stage of life. When my wife and I were younger, we were serving in the neighborhood all the time. Home visits every night, multiple devotionals, study circles, junior youth groups, everything. We joked that we were like midfielders on a soccer team. We were up, back, left, right, everywhere. But then we got older, we had kids, we moved into a different neighborhood, we started full-time work, and we began to realize that we just couldn't serve that way anymore. At first we thought we were failing, that we were doing something wrong. But then we realized, actually, we're not even playing soccer. What we're doing now is we're running a marathon, and that's a totally different thing.
We're a group of friends and neighbors who come together on a regular basis to think about what are the needs of our community, how we can work together, how are we thinking about the well-being of everyone in the community.
I'm the president of this neighborhood. We have a lot of youth out here that has a lot of talent, but some of the challenges we face is gun violence in our neighborhood. So with these youth groups, it teaches the children how to help other children become better people. And if we continue to have these programs, I really feel that we can make a difference in our community.
As we started more and more junior youth groups in the neighborhood, we started to notice a trend. So whenever it came time for the junior youth to read during group, they would refuse. They would throw their books, they would try to get the other junior youth not to read. And at first we thought these were behavioral challenges, and so we would try to address them as such. But as time went on, it became clear that it wasn't a behavioral problem. It was that the junior youth couldn't read the text. As we looked into it more, it became clear this was a challenge across the neighborhood. Junior youth in this neighborhood could not read at age level. So we started an organization that could provide one-on-one academic tutoring to strengthen the literacy levels of the junior youth in this neighborhood. Now in the junior youth group, they're more eager to read. They're more focused, and they even are helping each other when they struggle to read.
My roommate and I are both students, and we've been exploring ways to build community in our neighborhood.
Come after middle school, they either hang out and do good things.
We've opened up our home to have study circles and devotionals in our apartment.
Trying to invite youth to join the community building process by explaining it as merely a set of activities has proven challenging. Often they're not interested or they find it difficult to find time in their life. But when we share the purpose behind these activities, the greater vision of Baha'u'llah, of the transformation of the individual and society, youth are eager to contribute.
When I learned about the vision that Baha'u'llah had for the oneness of humanity, it really spoke to me. When I was younger, I went to a mostly white school, and being one of the few black children there, I did feel kind of like I was under a microscope. It feels almost as if you're representing your race. And during lunch, I felt a lot of anxiety. I didn't know who to sit with because black kids were sitting on one side and white kids were sitting on the other. And I wanted to sit with both. One day, a family friend told my mom and I about the Baha'i religion, and she invited us to a devotional gathering. And when I arrived, I was just blown away. I saw so many different people of different religions, ethnicities, just coming together and singing together, talking together, and I just felt like I belonged. I'm serving as an animator in one of the neighborhoods. I really love talking with young people about these spiritual concepts and how they can bring that into their own lives.
You know, in a time that was really polarizing and I was feeling fairly isolated, I was looking for more authentic connection, and I thought maybe some of my neighbors would be too. And so I decided that I would just try to invite my neighbors to become part of a devotional gathering.
My neighbor came from across the street and invited me to a devotional that was happening right outside my home. And it was just perfect timing because I was feeling incredibly isolated and looking to find meaningful connection. Since then, I've been going to the devotional for the past 2 years, and it has just been a tremendous source of support and just a fantastic community to become a part of.
So powerful, so powerful is the light of unity that it can.
We have several activities in our neighborhood. We've begun children's classes, study circles, additional devotional gatherings. These spaces help bring people together. It brings the joy that we're looking for in a community. One of the things that I'm really grateful for is that I have a friend in the neighborhood who, from the beginning when we first started our devotional gathering, has been there alongside me. We are consulting and talking about how these activities are going, how we can support each other, and it really helps to have another person to do this with.
One day, a neighbor from down the street asked me if I would be interested in participating in a study circle. And my first reaction was, I don't have time for this because I'm super busy. And I even said that to her. But then after a bit, I thought about it and I thought, I really did like the idea of talking with other people about deeper issues that you don't get the opportunity to talk to about and having some dedicated time to do that. So I decided to join the study circle, and we would talk about the various quotations. There were a couple that really spoke to me. So the one about when you have a thought of war, to oppose that with a stronger thought of peace. When you have a thought of hatred, oppose that with a stronger thought of love. And I use that almost daily because there are things that I come up into my mind and I'm irritated by something, and then I have to stop myself and replace that with a stronger thought of love. And I remember one part of the things that we had talked about is, okay, we're in a neighborhood. What do we think that our neighborhood needs? And the first thing that came to my mind was more connection. which is kind of funny because I go about my own business all the time, but it just feels powerful to be a part of a neighborhood and not just someone living in a house next to other people.
We are a group of families that come together on a regular basis to plan, reflect, and support each other in our community building activities. One of the spaces that we've created is called Meaningful Conversations. We invite others through both social media and through personal friendships. This is a space in which we read quotations around a given topic. We use these quotations to inspire an uplifting conversation. This is really helping all of us to keep these spiritual ideas in the forefront of our mind and carry them into our actions throughout the week.
I believe that the Institute process brings people back to their basic identities of who they are and why they're here. As an African-American male, in this society, my identity has been defined for me. I'm seen as angry, violent, untrustworthy, ignorant, and a threat. Growing up under these circumstances, it was very hard for me to understand who I truly am and why I'm here. And that challenge has really broken most of us. But studying the writings and understanding that actually I'm created noble and spiritual, then that relieves all of those burdens. And then I see myself as a spiritual, noble human being. And not only that, I also see others in that same light. You're then able to become that protagonist and really help others as part of your purpose. And I think that this helps bring us closer to Baha'u'llah's vision of the oneness of humanity.
Okay, bye. Bye.
When I was a child, my wish was to be a teacher. But in my village, girls were not sent to school because people didn't see the importance of us being educated. But my father put me in school, and I was very happy. When I was a teenager, my father decided that I'd had enough education because I'm a girl. So he took me out of school. I was very sad because I had to give up my desire to become a teacher. At the age of 17, I got married and I moved to a new village. In this village, I met the Baha'i community and joined the Institute process. This awakened within me again my desire to become a teacher. Soon after, I became a children's class teacher and later an animator of junior youth groups. I was very happy. But then I noticed that the majority of the children in this village were not going to school. The nearest school was too far away, and they had to walk for 4 hours on foot just to get there. So together with the Baha'i community, we started having conversations with the families in the village. We all decided to build a community school, and I became the teacher at the community school. I was very happy. But the community school was only for 5- and 6-year-olds, and we didn't have the resources to have higher grades. So, after reflecting with the community, I initiated conversations with the government. We persuaded them to build a primary school in our village, which they did. And today, children go to school and walk there easily. Some children from this village have completed university.
The Baha'i community here has been learning how to translate Baha'u'llah's vision of a spiritually and materially prosperous society into action. Through the Training Institute, we began to learn about the role of education in this endeavor.
Wakati wa kuelekea shuleni, muende salama, kimbia mbio, salimia walimu. Haya, tuonane. Bye.
I only finished primary school. We believed that none of us could make it to secondary school. I have 7 children, and I am a single mother taking care of them. My wish is for them to have an education. But I was worried that this wouldn't be possible. 10 years ago, my children joined children's classes and junior youth groups, and it gave me hope. And now, my 3 eldest children are in secondary school. They are also children's class teachers and animators of junior youth groups. My heart is very happy.
Oh, friends, in the garden of thy heart, plant not by the rose of love.
Wow, good. Can you clap for him?
I am the chief of this area. I have been collaborating with the Baha'is for the last 15 years. Back in the day, many children couldn't go to school. Young men were also involved in drugs. And we also had the problem of girls getting pregnant, so life became very difficult. We started consulting with the Baha'i community about how they can help us with the challenges because they have a lot of experience in empowering our youth.
The chief, together with the village elders, consult regularly with the local spiritual assembly and seek guidance for issues that concern the community.
When we raise our consciousness to begin to think about the transformation of the entire village, we began to think of how to involve everyone. And as a result of that, we began to move together as a whole.
As a young boy, I was brought up near a marketplace called Bad Corner. At the age of 16, I was already the leader of a gang of 20 youth whose aim was to cause fear and violence among the residents. Even the police feared us. One day, I heard about the Baha'i faith. My heart was very much moved. Soon after, I joined Ruhi Book 1. Today, I'm a cluster growth facilitator. I visit people in the village, encouraging and assisting them in their efforts to host devotional meetings and carry out home visits.
I always invite my neighbors and friends to my house for devotional gatherings. It unites us. And I've been doing this for 3 years now. Before, I didn't think I could have a devotional meeting in my home because we always have devotionals in the church. But now, I realize that I can go to church and also hold devotional meetings in my house.
Holding devotional gatherings in our homes and inviting our neighbors was not part of our culture. It was when we went through Book 1, reflecting on the life of the Spirit, that we began to appreciate the power of prayer. What is prayer? Why do we pray? And immediately we began sharing our insight with others during our home visit in the village. Today, the habit of praying together in our homes has become part of our lives. Traditionally in the past, men who are lazy, you'll often find them sitting under a tree, waiting for their wives to feed them, clean for them, take care of children, and work on the land. Men thought that women were weak creatures, but women did everything. If someone saw me washing my wife's clothes, it would be the talk of the village. People would point fingers at me, saying, I'm not a man, that my wife controls me.
Because of the community building process, the consciousness about the equality of women and men has been raised.
Many men are changing. They are taking an active role in household duties and are more involved in parenting and supporting their wives.
Women are not only participating in the activities, they are at the forefront coordinating and leading. On our local speech assembly, the majority are women. At the level of the family, the wife and husband consult and make decisions together. These changes have helped our community to advance.
The community building process created for us a foundation for social action efforts to advance.
After studying the book Breezes of Confirmation with the junior youth, we were impressed with the characters of Rose and Masanda when they went to offer service at the health center. We also visit a few health centers regularly to offer service.
I'm the manager of this health dispensary. I always enjoy it when the young people come to assist us to clean various areas of the hospital. When they finish, we give them health training. They become our ambassadors about health matters here in the village.
We've had this service project for 2 years. We grow a variety of vegetables so that we can have good nutrition. We also sell vegetables to buy pens and books for school. And also, we buy seeds to plant more vegetables.
Our community has the practice of only planting maize. The PSA program has made us realize that we can plant other things like vegetables and fruits. In the past, my family spent a lot of money at the market to buy vegetables and fruits. But since I graduated from the PSA program, I planted different things at home. I plant different kinds of vegetables. I plant different fruits. My family no longer needs to go to the market to buy things. They are saving money to educate my siblings. Now, my family is happy. All things are progressing well.
I didn't participate in the PSA program, but because of the love we have as a community, I still receive the knowledge of the PSA program about agriculture through friends and neighbors. In the past, everyone was busy with their own work. The PSA program helped us to start working together.
Before, each of us was working independently, and food production was at a low level. Now, we are 200 farmers who help each other in our fields, discussing and sharing our knowledge. And the yield has increased.
Worship and service have become the center of our lives, and we are so honored that the first local house of worship in Africa is here in Matunda soil.
Everyone from any tribe, any church, goes to the house of worship for prayer. It belongs to the community.
Now with the house of worship, many families go and say prayers together very early in the morning before they go to their daily activities.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, I am the Sheikh from our Matunda Mosque. I am happy when I enter our house of worship. When I'm inside, I thank the Almighty God. I find calmness, like the calmness I always have when I'm in the mosque. It has brought great changes in a community like ours. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings.
In my church, I am the secretary for the women, guiding and counseling them. I feel very close to the Bahá'í community. I come every day to the house of worship to say my prayers. It is a calm place that brings tranquility to my heart. When I hear prayers from different religions, I am very happy because the Word of God is uniting us together. In my house, I host meetings for my neighbors in my area. We are a group of 15 families that come together every week. We are neighbors from different religions and churches. We pray and consult about the affairs of the community. For example, we discuss how can we help every child to receive spiritual and material education. We enjoy these meetings because we learn a lot from each other and we support each other.
Today, we no longer see each other as members of different religions, tribes, class, or gender. Because of the revelation of Baha'u'llah, we see each other as members of one community, recognizing that together we are the protagonists in creating a spiritually and materially prosperous society.